Hey everyone, before we get started with today's interview, I have a huge announcement to make. My book, The Super Six, is now in pre-launch. And I guess you're telling yourself, the guy who does indie comic interviews is an indie comic book artist himself. Yeah, go figure, right? Surprise! Anywho, I've been working on this project for close to 3 years now, and as far as production goes, everything is coming to a close, but I still have a lot of work to do in terms of getting the book colored, lettered, and working on a few other things that is still a surprise for you guys. But I'm opening up the door for my pre-launch schedule right now. And what that means is if you go to my website, tobeheroic.com, and sign up for my pre-launch, you will get this free exclusive HD wallpaper. This wallpaper will not be featured in the Indiegogo campaign that's going to be launching, okay? This is the only time you can get this wallpaper. You can use it on your phone, your tablet, computer. You can show it off to your friends, however you care to use it. My artist, Ronell Reyes, put this together for you guys so you guys can get exclusive content. Also, when you sign up for my newsletter, guys, I'm not going to be spamming you, but you will be getting access to early release dates on certain tiers and stretch goals. You will also get a first look at the trailer, first preview looks before the whole campaign even goes live. So you guys will be getting your hands on a lot of stuff before it even goes live. So that's a cool incentive for that right there. If you're not interested in my campaign, well, guess what? If you visit my website, I have books. Yes, I've written books. Surprise! You can actually go on Amazon.com and get an ebook edition of my first book, The Zentown Chronicles, The Gencia Star, for free. That's an entire book, a whole book for free. So if you're looking to kind of finish off your summer reading list with something a little bit different, hey, guess what? Go check out my books. They're all superhero fantasy novels with a touch of mysticism in it. And the best part is that my books also tie in into the story of the Super Six. So it's kind of like you guys getting caught up on my whole story timeline before the newest edition of that story comes out, all right? So again, go to tobeheroic.com, throw in your full name, your email address. Be sure to alert your spam folder, all right? Let it know that my emails are not spam. The moment you hit submit, you will get this HD wallpaper sent directly to your inbox, all right? So I'm really excited to finally be launching this. I've been working on it for a long time now, and it's coming to an end, but I hope you guys do like it. And if you don't like the idea of getting emails from me, well, guess what? Here's a little gift from you. Go get one of my books for free. The first book, of course, because if you like the first book, you'll go get the rest of them, right? Who said that? Anywho, if you don't like it, hey, no money out of your pocket, right? There you go. All right, without further ado, let's get to this interview, guys. Thank you so much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Indie Choice Picks. On today's episode, I have another sci-fi time travel alternate universe kind of story to give to you guys from the mind of David Schwartz. It is called Feast or Famine, and he is reimagining Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla actually working together. So, guys, sit back and relax as I bring you David Schwartz and his Indiegogo book, Feast or Famine. Have fun. David, man, thank you for coming on to the show, man. I really appreciate you taking out the time to come talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
You got your little banner in the background, Feast or Famine. So
Yeah.
looks really good, my man.
Thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's been a really fun project to work on, and it's been many years in the making. So I'm glad that it's out there, and we're actually getting a book in our hands.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit about your project and yourself. So take it away, Mike's yours.
Sure. So I'm Dave Schwartz. I'm the writer, colorist on the comic book series Feast or Famine by Alternate Comics. It's a 3-issue short series about an alternate universe where Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein partner together and go on a space adventure.
That's cool. Like, I'm a science nerd, and you just got my attention 100%.
Right on, man. Yeah, it's something every time I make that pitch to someone at a Comic-Con or you just even casually in a comic book shop, they just look at me and go, "Oh man, that's such a cool idea." So yeah, it's been a really fun book to work on, especially working with another artist because I'm a writer and an artist, and this is the first book that I ever actually passed on the artist job to someone else. So it was a fun experience getting to just kind of write and see how someone else interpreted it.
Cool, man. How did you come up with the idea of teaming up Nikola Tesla and Edison, because I know Nikola Tesla wasn't really recognized for what he did in terms of pushing electromagnetism and electricity
Right.
innovations forward. It all went to Edison.
Right. Well, in this series, in the first issue, we kind of go back in time and we take a look at how Tesla met Edison, and how Edison sort of maybe sort of took some of his ideas and put his own name on it. So we kind of explored that rivalry a bit, and then in my story, it sort of takes a little bit of a turn where in our history, Edison sort of won the energy race and took over, and Tesla basically, died penniless.
Mhm.
And in our story, it's sort of the opposite. So Edison has a freak accident that takes his life, and because of that, Tesla basically is left, being able to fill that void.
Mhm.
So he gets the money, he gets the funding, and he gets the opportunity to be able to reshape the world in his image. So it's to me, it was almost like kind of trying to take a futuristic 1950s version of the world and then try to put that back at the turn of the century and kind of mix that, together and see what happens. So.
Okay. Real quick, I just now realized that you're part of Alternate Comics.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. And when I first got into indie comics, Alternate Comics were everywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
who are these guys and what are they doing? Because I just see Alternate Comics here, and then I get on Twitter and it just blows up. And I'm like, whoa, Alternate Comics. I need to see if I can get one of these guys on the show. I had no idea you were a part of that crew.
Yeah. I got in with Peter, who's the publisher over at Alterna, Peter Semeni, a couple years ago. He was very kind, and I pitched him a couple different ideas, and Feast or Famine was the one that he really thought was really interesting and he wanted to explore more. And I've had a really good working relationship with him, and I've had a lot of really good feedback from alternative fans. Alternative fans are, I would say, some of the most passionate indie comic book fans that I've met.
That's fantastic. And correct me if I'm wrong, is Alternate Comics a part of Comic-Gates, or is that completely separate?
So they try to stay out of being affiliated officially with any kind of movement or side, if you will, in this whole Comicsgate thing.
I think it's nonsense, to be honest. I don't
I'm
really
kind of, yeah. I'm in the same boat. Honestly, I'm much more trying to be in the middle. And I don't want to alienate any fans. I understand that everybody has a difference of opinion, and I believe that there should be work out there for everyone, right? So if you want a super diverse comic book with characters that represent LGBT, or people that are characters that really kind of go against what the traditional tropes of what these comic book stories have been for years, that's fine. Like, go do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's plenty of audience for that. But then I think that there's also a big audience that wants traditional, more comic books that are more traditional. And that's fine. Because I think a lot that I think a lot of people don't talk about with Comicsgate is we all have difference of opinion, and why can't we all enjoy the type of entertainment that we want, especially now, because we have more opportunity now to absorb all kinds of different work from great artists and writers all over the world, much more so than we did many, many years ago. Many years ago, it was just one avenue, or Marvel or DC. Go that way, and that's all you have, But now I feel like we have the opportunity to really kind of cater to, niche kind of audiences. And I think we should be allowed to do that. I don't understand why we have to have so much hate for other things,
Yeah, I kind of felt that too, because when I was getting in touch with you to reschedule the interview, right? Because we were supposed to do this weeks ago.
Sure.
I was looking for you this morning. I was like, wait, who else do I have the interview? And I'm looking on my calendar and I see your name pop up. So I go, okay, I talked to him before. So I go straight to my messages and look for your name, and you're not there. And I'm like, wait, I know I talked to him because I have it rescheduled here on my calendar. And then I like search your name and I see all these like just, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this people just hating on you for no reason. And I go, that's not cool, man. Like, I don't see why people are just being hateful. And it's like, now that comic gates, you got people who are in comic gates, and then you have people who are against comic gates. And now there was something like last week where internally comic gates like split into something else, and I'm like, yo, I thought we were all here just to draw comics. I don't like the whole politics. Like, I'm not here to take sides, because I got people coming at me asking me, well, do you do comic gates this branch or this branch? I go, I bring on anybody who is a comic book artist or any indie artist in that matter. I don't discriminate against if you're comic gates, if you're not, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're bi, trans. I don't care. If you have a good story and I like it, I want you on the show, you know?
Right.
But I got a lot of blowback because people watch my videos, and the majority of them are comic gates. And I go, yeah, because most of the people who are not comic gates usually protest me and don't want to come on the show. So what am I supposed to do? I really don't understand. So like I said, just for all you people out there, if you want to come on the show, I don't care who you are. If you have a good story and good art and I like it, I want to talk to you about it, period, you know? So
right. Absolutely. Well, and one of the things I saw a while back on Twitter, Sean Gordon Murphy, you know, the wonderful writer artist on White Knight.
Yeah.
You know, I think he posted something a while back in this vein of, you know, I'm willing to have a drink and a conversation with anyone. You know, so if you want to have a conversation with me and you want to disagree with me and maybe have like a civil discussion about it, you know, let's have a drink and let's talk, you know. And that's kind of my approach too. Like I am willing to listen to anyone. I'm willing to discuss any topic with anyone, really, anytime that they want to. I'm not opposed to it. And I think that, you know, sometimes people get a little too caught up with the, you know, oh, you're affiliated with that, then I don't really want to give you any time of day. You know?
And that's a horrible notion, because that kind of kills the whole idea behind having a conversation. Like, there's friends in my circle who one is a Trump supporter, I'm a Trump supporter, there's people who liked Obama, and we all go out and have drinks and we just hang out. And if we disagree, we disagree. There's no need for like, I'm just going to shut you down and block you on Twitter. I think I got blocked like 10 times this week alone from people who just, they don't want to have a conversation. They look at what I do. They look at how I talk and tweet, and they're just like, oh, block. And I'm like, you know, you could have talked to me. We can disagree. And that's what I try to do on Twitter. It may seem like I'm ranting from time to time, but a little bit. But I do, like, if you have any disagreements with me, that's fine. We can still talk. And I usually just kind of calm down when people are just attacking me. I go, look, man, if you want to have a conversation, let's talk. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's tweet. Let's keep it civil, because I'm going to respect you. I'm not going to call you any names. I'm not going to insult you. I'm not going to call you a dumbass or anything. I'm going to say the most meanest thing I'll say is, that's your opinion. I respect that, but I disagree with it.
Right. And it doesn't have, and I think one of the things too that a lot of people are quick to do is you're quick to make fun or belittle the other person.
Yeah.
You know? And as soon as you start to belittle someone, you've already lost. The conversation's over with. You know what I mean?
When people believe that the earth is flat, no, I disagree with that. But if you believe the earth is flat, that's your business. It's none of mine. Like, I'm not the one to tell you that you're an idiot for believing that.
Exactly.
That's not my place. If you want to tell me the earth is flat, cool. I'm going to disagree. I believe it's round.
Right. Well, it's funny right. And it's funny that you should say that, because I made the mistake a while back of going down that flat earther, hole.
Rabbit hole.
I just thought it was fascinating, and so I engaged a couple of people on social media about it. And, my approach was very, inquisitive, so I would just ask questions. I wasn't accusing, I wasn't belittling. I just wanted to know what their opinion was about certain questions. And it seemed like every single time I got back some kind of snide remark or some kind of, belittling remark. And it was like, okay, clearly you just want to make yourself sound more important, and that's okay. Some people may feel like they need that from time to time, but it doesn't help the discourse. It doesn't help the conversation move any further than just, being, immature.
Yeah. And I'm all for one with like a good conspiracy theory. Like, there's one floating around, like there's like openings at the poles of the earth. Where
I heard about that one.
And I'm like, you look at every NASA photo at the North and South poles, and it's always covered. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I could find one. I couldn't find one. And I'm like, okay, tell me more, right? Like, but the whole like Earth is flat. Like you got these people conducting these experiments, and they're like wholeheartedly believe that the Earth is flat. I'm like, okay, that's great. I disagree. That's
Yeah.
it. And, and I think a lot of that comes from when people are like attacking, when you're like asking like a simple rational question. All social media is like a fight ground. It's like walking into a wildfire when you just like everything's on fire for no reason.
Right.
A lot of that has to deal with people anticipating the attack.
Right.
I think that's what it is. Like your people are just automatically quick. And before they even reply, I hear like I think a stat like 70% of people that you ask a question to, they go to your profile first and see what you're about before they give you an answer. So if you're like, I'm 100% believing that the earth is round, and they go to your profile, flat earther goes to your profile, they're going to give you like some kind of snarky remark because they've already seen what you tweet about. You're like that guy that just doesn't believe the earth is flat, and they're going to like, there's no sincerity in it because you can put down emojis like a smiley face emoji, but people would think that's sarcastic. And you're like, no, I'm being serious. Like, why do you believe the earth is flat? But
right. Well, yeah, and I heard it a long time ago in regards to the Earth is flat people. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said something about this, about how like the problem with having a conversation with people that are so dug in, to a particular ideology is, you can ask them, okay, what would be, if I could find any evidence to sway you to think about it, in a different way, what would that evidence be? And then they may give you something, and then you may be able to give it right back and say, yeah, I have that. I have it right here. But then they're always going to try to, okay, well, maybe that's not exactly, well, really, truly trust that because, and it's like, well, I gave you what you said you needed, and you're still figuring out a way out of it. So clearly you're not kind of willing, to kind of see the other side. And I feel like in the whole confiscate, non-confiscate confrontation, I feel like there's a lot of, people, a lot of opportunists, that use it as a way to sling hate and vitriol.
Yeah. And it's usually the people that are, it's usually people that are slinging the hate who are like talking about tolerance and diversity, but you're kind of being intolerant in trying to push that agenda. And I'm like, that's one of the reasons why I like walked away from like the Liberal Party, because I used to be a liberal. And I'm like, yeah, no, tolerance for all. But then I see the same people over there just bashing people who are different. And I'm like, wait, that makes no sense. So.
Right. Well, and I personally, I find myself much more in the center than I ever have been. I would consider myself previous to this, being far liberal, like really far liberal. And, it was kind of interesting for me because some people know this, a lot of people don't. I actually used to work for John Malin, the kind of big Comiskey, proponent. And I worked for him for a while, probably almost a year. And, he and I couldn't be more different when it came to our political, views. And it just seemed like every day we would have kind of a conversation. He would kind of talk about how he saw the world. I would maybe, chime in here and there. But it was kind of interesting because, it was the first time that I had an opportunity to sit and listen to an opposing viewpoint for as long as I did. And it almost, I think many times it sort of opened my eyes up to another way of thinking. Not to say that I 100% agreed with him every single time, but at the same time, I felt like it was an interesting exercise in, conversing with someone that's completely different from you. Because I feel like if you're constantly surrounding yourself with the same like-minded individuals, it's kind of hard to like grow and learn and maybe like understand a little bit deeper of what truth really is. Because truth is subjective, it kind of, there's not like a universal truth. So to me, I just feel like if we give ourselves more of an opportunity to be open and talk and maybe just listen, and I mean, we don't necessarily have to keep talking at one another. I just think we'd all be a little bit better off. I mean, the recent thing that has gone down on Twitter with Alterna Comics and that Yeti guy, you know, it just kind of blew up into this thing where, you know, I felt like everyone was jumping on the bandwagon without actually like reading what happened and talking and asking questions and being like, well, is this what really happened, or am I just kind of jumping on the bandwagon like everybody else? You know?
Yeah, like when I see stuff like that, I kind of just sit back on the sidelines and just watch, because I will come out and say, people will ask me my opinions on like certain things going on Twitter, and I go, I can't weigh in because I don't know what's happening. It would be actually foolish on me to weigh in on something I have no idea. Like, I just pop in on Twitter and I have like 20 notifications of people asking me about this topic, and I go, I don't know. I can look into it, but honestly, I probably won't, because it's none of my business. Somehow,
Right.
if it gravitates into me, somehow if I get dragged into it, then of course I'm gonna have to like respond. But I do my best to like keep that drama away. You know, it's hard on Twitter because you want to speak out, but it's like,
Right.
let's get off for like an hour and then come
Right.
back to it if you want. But Twitter.
Well, and at the end of the day, I mean, we're here to make comic books.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
So, like, why are we so fixated on being hateful on Twitter all day long? You know, I was just having a conversation with Peter Simetti of Alterna Comics about this, and you know, he and I just can't understand like how anyone gets anything done if they're constantly on Twitter, you know, screaming about this, that, and the other thing, and retweeting and screenshotting other people's tweets and compiling profiles on other people. It's like,
who has the time? It takes a lot of energy and
right.
time to do that. I think it was Wednesday, I like got caught up in some mess. And Wednesday night, dude, I went to bed at like 8 o'clock. I was just so mentally drained, and I just knocked out. I think Thursday, I just kind of flipped the script and didn't even touch Twitter like for half the day, because it was just like, I get like if you want to create a following, stuff like that, there's ways to do it. And if you're promoting a comic book, great. But if you're arguing on Twitter or if you're trying to promote it, just overall, social media is a hell of a lot of time and energy. And it takes so much out of you to just constantly be on there. And if I pick up my phone to check the weather and somehow I click Twitter and I'm like, wait, I was checking the weather and already an hour has gone past. And I'm like, such a trap. That's why Sundays, I like no social media for me. Sundays, I'm just chilling out at home. I don't do any work. I just collect myself for the following week. I don't even touch my phone on Sundays. It's too much for me.
No, and that's a good practice. Honestly, I mean, recently I went up north for a little vacay getaway. It was only for a weekend, but you know, I'm doing this INDIEGOGO right now, so it was really difficult for me to stay off of social media and, you know, stay away from the campaign. But my lovely girlfriend, you know, she just kept reminding me all weekend, you know, stop. You know, you need to remove yourself from that. You need to take your brain, because it's not, you know, just I'm physically doing work. It's my brain is engaged in it. You know, I need to take my brain and turn it off and literally put it into relax mode, right? And I felt like I finally did that, you know, by Saturday night. But, you know, I agree. Everybody needs a time to just get yourself off of the social network and just enjoy the life that you have around you.
Yeah, because before you know it, we'll be tweeting into like our 80s and 90s, and you ask yourself like, what happened? You know, I make a joke. I go, people ask me, how old are you? I go, oh, I'm 30. And they go, really? I go, yeah, I went to bed 23, woke up 30. They go, I don't remember like in between. And now I know what happened. I was fucking on Facebook and shit for like all those years. So that's what happened. You woke up, you're like, holy shit, I'm 30. What the hell have I been doing for like the last 7 years? On Facebook. That's what I've been doing. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen with you. I got your campaign open right over here.
Sweet.
Let's do it this way. Let me know when you can see it.
Almost.
It's black screen?
Yeah, got a black screen so far.
Okay, come on, computer. My computer's old. I need to get a new one for sure.
Yeah, you and me both, man. I got a big old crack in my screen. There we go.
All right, so you had me at Tesla and Edison teaming up. What's the overall plot here? What are you aiming for? What's the conflict?
So basically, at the beginning of the first issue, Teska. In the book, they're named Teska and Stein.
Okay.
So a little bit different than how we say their names. But in the book, Teska gets a mysterious radio signal from what he believes to be an alien society of some kind.
Didn't that happen in
They
real life with Tesla? Didn't he say he picked up
uh,
radio waves?
Yeah, it's actually somewhat based off of real life. So he believed that he was receiving some information or radio signals from a distant planet. Now, I'm pretty sure he believed it was like Mars or something, something that was like really close to us. So
Mhm.
I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm sure that Tesla had all kinds of weird thoughts and theories. I'm sure all those geniuses did. But hey, it makes for really interesting sci-fi. So
Yeah, it does.
right. So I started there, and I thought, okay, well, what if like these two guys were like scientific pioneers, So like instead of turning over the information to like the authorities or the military, they just decided, we're going to go and explore and be the first, human beings to step foot on an alien planet.
Mhm.
So they basically brush off an old machine that they had worked on a couple years ago, a teleporter that didn't wind up working. So they figured out how to get it working. They managed to create some kind of retro looking spacesuits, and they go over to this alien world. And when they get there, they find out that it's at first pretty desolate. It's almost like a really snowy kind of tundra hellscape. With these mutated ice bears that come out of nowhere, and lots of interesting weird things like that. But then eventually they're taken to a city that's under a dome, and inside the city there's all kinds of retro-looking robots and aliens and individuals that are kind of like half human, half hybrid animal. We have a character named Buck Gordon who actually kind of looks like a lion man. It's an interesting design that Joseph Cooper created for some of these characters. So it's basically like presented as this city is dying and they need help, and that's what the signal was all about. However, there's something else underneath that is very, very nefarious and could spell catastrophic doom for the Earth. So
Okay.
it's something I don't want to go into because those that haven't read the book yet be kind of a shocker. So, but it's really interesting. I feel like it's a really cool kind of twist on the genre. Plus, we get some really awesome artwork in that third act of the series. Joseph Cooper, I think I killed him with three back-to-back two-page spreads in the beginning of that issue. So it's a really jam-packed third act.
I like the artwork. It has that retro 80s look to it while trying to keep modern with it too. So that's also very appealing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, between Joseph's drawing and his design work and my coloring, I think that the two of us really, worked well together, and I think we really nailed the style that I was trying to go for. The beginning of the book, we do a bunch of flashbacks to an older period, so everything's kind of very warm and yellowy and sepia toned, and then as we go more into the modern day, it becomes that more like super saturated kind of palette that you see.
I can see Tesla's face right here. Yo, he's really upset there.
Yeah, that's the page. That's the scene where he has a big confrontation with Edison about a new device that Teska created that Edison is taking credit for. So Edison's basically telling him, like, no matter what you make, everything will be remembered as an Edison creation. So
Wow, that's a dick move, Edison.
Right.
Dick move. So how long have you been working on this book?
So
you got shirts made and everything too, man.
Yeah, we got all kinds of swag for this campaign. We started doing, I think I got the green light for this in like January, February of 2016. So and I created it, probably 6 or 7 months before that. So it was like mid 2015 is when I was actually creating the original pitch. So it took several years to get it off the ground. I mean, after I got it greenlit, we had to create the whole thing. So, it took us at least, I think, about 8 months to make it. But then it took even longer in the beginning stages to just be able to fund it. So we did another crowdfunder through Kickstarter a couple years ago, I think towards the end of 2016. And it was super successful. We met our goal, and we were able to get it made. But it was a long process to put it all together. But honestly, I think it was well worth it because everything turned out wonderful.
That's great, dude. I like all the merchandise you got here. You got coasters, you have magnets up here. That's where to go. I know I saw it. There it is. Magnets,
Yeah.
like the fridge. You got these cool little test badge. Dude, you just have the whole merchandise going on right here, man. I love it.
Yeah, I in my former career, I used to be a creative director in charge of branding. So
You definitely got that going, dude, for
yeah,
sure.
I learned a lot. But the other thing I wanted to mention, just in case everybody hasn't seen it yet, so you can kind of see it in some of these screens. There's a retro cover. It's like a Feast or Famine retro cover. It looks like an old, like 19, yeah, it's like that
Right
print
here?
there. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's going to be available in an 11x17 print. But I talked to Peter Simeti at Alterna Comics, and he liked it so much, and a lot of the fans liked it so much that he's agreed that we're going to create a issue 1 variant featuring that cover, and it's only going to be available through Indiegogo. So
okay.
in order to get that issue 1 variant of the series with the retro cover, you got to back one of those tiers that includes it on the Indiegogo campaign.
Okay, folks, you heard him. So I'm gonna put the link in the description for you, so we can get you going, because you're just about there, man. You got about 10 days left, and you're just about 200 and some change short.
We're really close. We're super close, and I'm really excited about it. Having just a little bit more time here at the end to maybe get some stretch goals going.
Yeah.
I announced on the Alterna's live channel last week, earlier this week, that my first stretch goal is going to be, if we hit 6,000, I'm going to add the option to get a custom-made embroidered lab coat. So I did this for the first Kickstarter, and it went pretty well, but they're kind of expensive. So I wanted to kind of use it as a stretch goal for certain people. So basically, it's going to have the Tachyon Labs insignia on it. So the insignia that's on the button and on the access badge, that little circular icon, that'll be on the breast pocket. And then there's also going to be an option to embroider your name. So if you want just your name, Dr. whatever, or if you want like your nickname, we can do that too. So it's a really cool little reward, and it'd be a nice gift if you don't want it for yourself.
If I was still in college doing lab, I would wear that everywhere. I would wear that everywhere, dude. Just for that. So kind of like the things I like to do towards the end of the show is kind of pick your brain on how you did your campaign. You said you were part of branding in a past life. And I would say, it would assume that you were able to use some of the skills you attained before to kind of shoot this up from what you wanted to where it is at now, correct?
Sure.
So a lot of people who watch the show, they're trying to run their indie campaigns too. Some of them are at a standstill. Some of them don't know what they're doing. So I'd like to ask people like you, who's obviously successful in this deal, little tips and tricks that you can give the audience on running a successful campaign.
Sure. So a couple things that I've found, because I think I've done I think this is my 5th one. And everything so far has been super successful for me. And I attribute a lot of that to just, like you were just saying, the brand, the look of everything, making sure that everything looks like it goes together, so that if you see maybe a little bit of it, on an ad on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, it's almost instantly recognizable as that's what that is. So I've seen a lot of people that put out these images that have 4 or 5 different lines of information, and each one of them has a different type of font, and they've got drop shadows and strokes and all these effects and starbursts. It's like, what's your message? What are you trying to convey? You know, you're basically trying to say like 7 different things in one image, you know, so
Yeah.
try to
Hmm.
keep it simple, you know, like get it back to basics and just ask yourself, what do you want people to absorb and where do you want them to go? And if you can't explain those things quickly to someone, you need to figure out how to explain it simply.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing that really helps is a professional video. You know, I've seen a lot of campaigns out there that either A, have no video whatsoever, which I think really hurts you.
Hmm.
Video is an instantly, it grabs people. It's one of those things where you see a moving image, it's going to just instantly grab your eye. So if you don't have it, I mean, it's almost, you're almost shooting yourself in the foot, I think, right from the get-go. But then I've seen people that do use video, but then the video isn't all that interesting. You know, it's maybe just them sitting in their living room, you know, just sort of talking casually about the situation at hand. You know, put some production quality into it. You know, show some artwork. You know,
Hmm.
talk about the story as if, you know, you were pitching it to a publisher. You know. One of the things that I learned myself is how to use some, you know, semi-professional video editing software. You know, I started off with iMovie, like I think a lot of people do,
Hmm.
but I'm an artist as well, so I have the Adobe Creative Cloud, and I have access to Premiere Pro. So I taught myself how to use Premiere Pro, and even though it's only maybe a small amount of the program that I understand, you know, I can create, I think, a pretty interesting and professional looking video. So, you know, do some research and maybe educate yourself a little bit about, you know, how to make a professional video and how to do it simply. You know, some of the stuff that, if you guys watch that video there at the very top of my campaign,
Hmm.
you know, there's nothing in there that's terribly complicated. You know, it's just a lot of sort of just small animations and, you know, small tutorials that you can find online that would really help you out. And then I think lastly is, you know, staying engaged with your audience.
Hmm.
I think a lot of times what happens is you might start off in the beginning of your campaign and just start emailing everybody that you know, and then you do that for maybe the first 3 days, and then you don't know what else to do because you kind of already emailed everyone, right?
Yep.
So I think the thing about it is you gotta have to think outside the box and try to think, okay, who else might I be able to contact that would be interested in this? You know, who else outside of maybe comic books could I contact? You know, could I contact bookstores? Could I contact, you know, local news outlets? You know, even like local radio. You know what I mean? Even if it's a little bit, that little bit can mean the difference in you, you know, failing at your campaign or, you know, getting your goal. So I think any opportunity that you can every single day to do something, you
Hmm.
know, to get the word out there about your campaign will help, even if it's a little bit. So.
Well noted, man. Heard, because a lot of people, they're doing exactly the opposite of what you just said. So I've come across campaigns too that did not have a video, and I remember talking to the creator of Caius, which is some like a little manga. I can't think of his name right now. Something Cardinal. I'm sorry, buddy, if you're watching this. I've been doing a lot, so I can't remember everyone's name. But he did his Caius, and he had his video, and his video was freaking fantastic. And I think he smashed his goal in like 3 days. So
Yeah.
one of the things that he said, like, make sure you have a really good, engaging video, not too much of you talking about it. Like you're trying to sell a product, so let the product do the talking for you. So I have Adobe Studio too, the cloud, and I pay $20 a month, but all I use is Photoshop. So since you said
Mhm.
Premiere Pro, I think I might break into that and figure out how that's supposed to work and see what I can do with that.
Yeah, I honestly recommend it only because it, to me, it was really an easy tool to learn. There's a lot of things that, I mean, it looks incredibly intimidating. A
Hmm.
lot of those programs just look intimidating. But I think that if you take it step by step and you just have a simple goal in mind, you know, for instance, like you want to animate something, you just want something to kind of slide in and out, right? Or like
Hmm.
pop or something like that. I look that stuff up, you find a tutorial, you learn it
Hmm.
in about 20 minutes, and you're able to create something that is actually interesting looking and not just flat and boring.
Yeah, I agreed. All right, well, coming down to the end of our time here. Dave, thank you for coming on to the show, man. It was real fun talking to you, man.
Yeah, you as well, man. I really appreciate the support, and I'm always willing to come on and talk about comics or any comic book related issues.
For sure, bro. If you ever do a sequel to this or go further with anything else, let me know. I mean, we always try to get people back on the show. I know a lot of people that I've interviewed in the past, they're working on new projects and they're contacting me trying to get back on the show. So we'd love to have you back on, my dude.
Yeah, I love to be back on. I appreciate you having me.
Sounds good, man. Well, you have a great weekend and I will see you on Twitter.
You as well. Take care.
You too. And that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new to the channel, I welcome you with open arms. Hit that subscribe button, and if you want to go the extra mile, hit that notification bell. I do interviews all the time, and also you can check out my new show, Nerd Power Hour, where me and my friends, we go and we catalog all the top news and pop culture from that particular week. It's a lot of fun. We keep everything unfiltered on everything, because why edit, right? Anywho, if you are an indie comics creator, we're working on a webcomic, about to launch a campaign on Indiegogo or Kickstarter or any other platform, let me know. I want to have you on the show. I want to know what's going through your mind, what kind of characters you got and concepts. You can find me on Twitter, Will at Heroic Studios, or at my Twitter handle at Heroic_studios. Just send me a DM with a link to your work and I will be more than happy to check it out. All right. So until next time, you guys, I'm going to be bringing you some more artists up until through September. and October, I'm taking a break. All right. So have fun, enjoy yourselves, and I will see you guys next time on the Indie Choice Pick Show. Bye.